Passover. We're going to go into our chat about Passover and things that we're doing in our home so we could bounce ideas off of each other. We can also talk about whatever you ladies feel like you want to talk about, but I really do feel like it's a cool time that we can talk about Passover. So, who wants to open their mic and share? I've shared enough today. Kimberly, I'm not centered, right? Am I pinned? Can you make the gallery view? Yes, thank you so much. Okay, so I can see you. Who's on here?
Sorry, I'm trying to do 50 things at once.
You're fine. Take your time. Thank you. Hey.
Hey, I can share a couple of things if you want. I've kind of just been spiraling off of a couple of ideas that I'm doing. So I guess like this weekend, we're going to be focusing a little bit on, I know this is slightly off topic, but we're going to be doing St. Patrick's Day with our family. And the actual story, like, of who he was is pretty incredible. And I let my kids this morning watch by Torchlighters the story of him getting taken by the ancient Irish people, and how God had convicted him that, you know, they needed to know Christ. And they gave up their Celtic religion because of his trust in God, and he was captured by them, and then he felt compelled, even though he was, I think, taught by the Catholic Church, he had enough saving faith that he got drawn back to the people of Ireland. And I think it was by tribes that he would go to their leader and he would tell them the gospel, and they eventually got saved. So we're going to be doing that, but I have a couple of different things that I'm going to be doing, or that I have prepared for.
I'm sorry, Caitlin, what was that? Was that torch? What was that again? I'm going to write it in here.
The Torchlighters. You can, I think, get the DVDs, or most of the movies are, okay. Most of them are on YouTube. And I can post a link either in the chat here or in the chat on Band, whatever anybody prefers. Oh yeah, and then they have their own website too. You can buy their DVDs, but if you prefer the free option to just see what you think of them, then YouTube has a lot of their videos. And what's up? And then I was looking into different things for Passover, and I posted in the comments, or well, in the chat, how I've used a 10 plagues puppet, like finger puppets, and the children can color them in, and you can talk about the 10 plagues. And I had just noticed on PJ Library when I checked that they had a lot of resources and a kids friendly Passover story. That's, I think, like 10 or so pages long, very basic, straightforward, of the first Exodus. So there's that. And I also posted that in the chat on Band. I can put these same links into this chat if you'd like, but I just don't, I don't have the printed versions with me, but I have them on my phone. And then Anne Elliott, Anne Elliott goes over, I know that some people for first fruits, since it's right in, like, within unleavened bread, and there's not a, like,
Yeah.
Yeshua is the physical temple and he's the heave offering for first fruits. I was doing a lot of research for that because I'm like, is there even a modern celebration anymore? How should this be observed? And obviously we know that, Yeshua is our first fruits. He's become that. But Anne Elliott put a article together of multiple sources relating to the miracles. I think it's either the 16th of Nisan or the 17th of Nisan, but she goes over the miracles that happened in the Old Testament on that day, and then obviously the miracle of the resurrection. So that link I can also post as well, but I'm gonna turn off my mic because my daughter's a little bit fussy. So
No,
that's
I
just
appreciate you sharing
that's my spiel of everything, but I can put the links in the comments.
No, or we can just do it in the chat. Don't worry about it. I feel like you put some of them already, right? You said?
Yeah, I think I put down 3. So the Passover 10 plagues puppets is by Tori Avey.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then
Yeah.
PJ Library has the other Passover printables. I think they just have the Red Sea, a puppet of Moses and Pharaoh, and the actual Passover story. Unless, there's some good children's Bibles that I would show, but if my daughter calms down, I can show you the Bibles that I really enjoy, if you don't want to be printing so many things. But I would definitely suggest for first fruits looking at the articles that Anne Elliott from Homeschooling Torah put on her link. So you can just type in Anne Elliott first fruits homeschooling Torah and it should come up. And she's got a lot of good insights regarding, sorry, I think she just calmed down, regarding first fruits and how as believers in Messiah, we have the ability to celebrate first fruits because Yeshua is, our first fruits. He's our perfect first fruits. We don't need a temple to celebrate it. And I just have in my hand, this is pretty inexpensive, but this helped me out when I first started studying Shabbat and the feast, but this is called The Feast of the Lord by Kevin Howard. And you can find this on Amazon. And yeah. Okay. Yep. So that link that Kimberly put at homeschoolingtorah.com / the feast of first fruits. So it's a lot of reading, but I think it's good. It's really good to just look at that. And they Kevin Howard and Martin Rosenhall, they go through the feast pretty thoroughly, and they also discuss the modern celebration of first fruits. But interestingly enough, it's not really acknowledged because the temple was destroyed.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of, it's confusing a little bit to me. Like you said earlier, it's like, now I feel like I'm finally grasping what the connection is for me, like for us, so that book talks about all of that, correct?
Yes, I think I don't know. They do go into Shabbat too.
Okay.
So they talk about all 7 feasts. And they, I think, briefly go over Shabbat, but I'm not sure if they do. But they primarily discuss the feasts of the Lord.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm really excited about what Anne Elliott had posed. And specifically, I really like the one link in that in her post that talked about the miracles of the 17th of Nisan. And I think there's a slight discrepancy is on if first fruits is on the 16th or the 17th of Nisan, but the same thing that they're talking about. And there's Old Testament passages, direct Old Testament passages. And I mean, I guess I can share my screen for a minute if you want, if I can pull it up. But there's let me see if I can find it here. Here we go. Oh wait, I think I'm on it. Okay. Where is it? Okay, Nissan 17 odds. And I'll just share my screen briefly, but I think that this is, I mean, yes, we can do the tomb was empty. When they found Yeshua, when they went to Yeshua's tomb, but let me see if I can, okay.
Yeah.
Let me see here. And I just thought that this was incredible. Can you guys see it?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so hopefully you can see it well. This might be a little bit blurry and oh darn. Okay, there it is. So there are other occurring events that happen on first fruits, and there's discrepancy again whether it was the 16th or 17th of Nisan, but these are all dated that Noah's Ark had safely rested on Mount Ararat. The Hebrews entered into Egypt 430 years before their deliverance. Then Moses led the Israelites through the parting of the Red Sea. The day of first fruits, Israel entered and ate the fruits of the promised land. The walls of Jericho, I think, were destroyed on that date. The cleansing of the temple by Hezekiah. Queen Esther saved Hebrews from elimination. And I think there's also was discussion that it's also believed that Haman was hanged on that day. And then obviously the resurrection of the Messiah. And these miracle odds that happened are obviously phenomenal. So that can be a topic of discussion with your children about those different miracles that also happen. So it's not a coincidence that Jesus resurrected, that he is our first fruits. And I realized yesterday, it was ironic, and I thought that I knew it, but I didn't actually save the information. I was studying on like how we can have our own like birth portion. Portion. And I found out that my birthday actually landed on the 17th of Nisan. And I was like, oh, how ironic. That's not interesting enough that God wanted me to start digging into this, because like, we don't need to stick to the eggs and bunnies tradition that we've been told all our lives. It's not about all of that. It's about the fact that Yeshua really truly is our first fruits. He's our heave offering for us. So yeah.
I think that's great for Dawn too, because Dawn was saying earlier that she has older kids. And I feel like that book is really, you can use that. It's not so commercially, or so, I don't know what the word is. Some of these things that I feel like are out there. And like, it's great for my 3-year-old, but even now my almost 8-year-old is kind of like, okay, like he really wants to know what's happening. And Dawn was saying too, like her children, so she has a 12-year-old, a 14-year-old, and a 17-year-old who have not grown up with Passover, which I think that's so cool that now they have the opportunity, because I feel like I didn't even know until I think this is going to be like my 4th or 5th Passover, but I think that that's really awesome that, that you're even open to asking these questions. Another question she had was, what is PJ Library? Do you want to explain that? Or do you want me to?
So PJ Library, they send books to parents that are Jewish, and some moms that are Messianic can attempt, if they want to, to have like free books that discuss about Shabbat, anything from Shabbat to the Feast of the Lord. And they have a website as well that they do have a disclaimer that they don't really distribute out books to Messianics, and some of their books
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but sometimes like I have attempted, saying that like we celebrate Shabbat and that we want to understand the Jewish things for our children, they'll send books via mail to children. And they also just have a website available to anybody that is interested in topics such as Hanukkah and the feasts, and specifically Passover. They have decent resources.
Yeah.
And these printable resources that they had on PJ Library, I can try to put that in the comments. I think that I still have that link up.
They're
They just
really
had
good.
they had some really cute printables to just explain the Passover story and make it interactive with kids. Now, if you, like I said, if you don't want to be printing a whole bunch of stuff, that's perfectly okay. And one alternative that you could do is you could get like little dolls that like might represent like the Egyptians, and then like make them like kind of, or just print off like little like Egyptian people and then like a pharaoh. And you could take Jello and like blue Jello, and you could just make an edible walking through the Red Sea scene. And
Yeah. Yeah, 'cause
you
that's
could
good
just
for
like
any
take-
age, you know,
Yeah,
like that's
like-
interactive.
yeah, and you
And
just, yeah.
yeah, like you said, it's like you can think of these things where they wanna,
Right.
yeah, this is true with the Jello.
Right, yeah, you can, yeah, there's a lot of kosher Jello options out there, but you could take that and make that like the water, and then just like grind up some Cheerios. And then just put that in the middle, and then like have it, make it look like they're walking through the Red Sea with like the little dolls or whatever you have. And to show them like how God can do something, and that can be like a sensory bin. Would grass fed be? Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I think, yeah, that should be kosher. That should be considered kosher.
Yeah, and now with
But-
that Passover's out, I feel like there's so many things like at my Wegmans, there's like aisles now just for Passover. So it's so fun. I'm like, I do see those little plague bags that are really cute, but they're expensive. So I've been trying to, throughout the year, come up with little things that could represent each of the plagues. And then we did it with our children last year, and it was so fun, but I feel like it was so last minute for me that I'm trying to think ahead and say, okay, what can I use for this plague to really get them to understand it? I know, like sunglasses for darkness and things like that. But I really, I think growing up in a home that celebrated only Easter, when I got married, I started putting together my Easter bin, right? Of my Easter decorations and all of the bunny things. And then I found the Lord, and then it was like, okay, wow, Jesus really is the Messiah and the Bible is true. And now I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to keep all of that, but also add in the resurrection. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, I'm going to step away from that, add in the resurrection, and now bring in Passover. But I have to learn how to then come up with all of these things now that I can store and then reuse every year. So I'm not re-racking my brain every single year, Oh, that's fun. Alicia said she put a red scarf over the front door. Bought it like a table runner off Amazon. Cool.
You could even, I've seen people, you could even put that red scarf to represent how God had covered, sorry, my kids are just being kids.
No, it's fine.
How he covered, each home of the, of his people, but with the blood. And you could use like a scarf of some sort that's like a reddish color, and you could just drape it over your door to represent how he really did cover his people. And through Yeshua's blood, he covers us from, he takes on the penalty from our sin with his blood. So
Yeah, I feel like you can use it for like,
there's so many things. I mean, like you could go to the dollar store.
yeah.
I can grab, where is it?
Hobby Lobby too. Great, right? I feel like
oh,
we say Hobby Lobby.
is incredible. It's
I
incredible.
need to go. This
Yeah.
book also I wanted to recommend. I feel like you have this too, right, Caitlin? I don't know.
I don't have that one. No.
Oh, it is my favorite book. This is the first book that I bought when I was like, I'm doing this. And it is big. However, it is so simple to read. It's a little bit pricey, I think, right? It's like $40 or something on Amazon. I'm gonna ask if we can put it in the resources page on the Rooted Cafe.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I
I
think this is
posted
a
the link
really great,
that
great,
book
book. And
already.
it breaks down the, the overview, Passover, unleavened bread, early first fruits in Omar, and then the Feast of Weeks. Because when I first started, I was so overwhelmed. And then I was like, okay, well, what does it say? Okay, this is a family guide to biblical holidays. And I was so, like, everywhere I went, I was reading this book because it's so simple. And it has great charts, just like yours has as well, of the different miracles and the events of where like Jesus was during that. Like it says, the events of Jesus. Okay, he approaches Jerusalem, the Sabbath at Bethany, and it goes through these things to break it down, which will be great too, Dawn, for your older children, because it's easy for me to read, as I didn't grow up celebrating these things. And so it's simple enough, but yet it's inventive enough too for our younger ones. They have a ton of activities in here too. So I just make copies. There's some word searches too in here, but I want to show you and it tells you too about the Seder, right? Like a simple, with no specific readings, or you can have specific readings, or, whatever's. And it breaks down what you need to do basically, right? And then other things to keep it simple or as untraditional as you want to go. So it even has the song, the Dainu song. Is that how you say Dainu? Dainu, that one. That's a really good one, Dawn. Do you know this one? This is good for your older kids. It's so fun for it to sing. And then it has how you can like display the plate. And it also has crafts for our kids. So I really recommend this book. I know it's an investment, but it's really good. Oh yeah, see the lamb craft. So yeah, it's really good.
I would just say keep it as simple or as busy as you want. There's so many different resources.
So many.
There's so many. It's just and also teachers pay teachers, TPT, it's .com or .org. They have so many different things. You could go as crazy as you want, or you can go as simple as you want. I think it's just you having the freedom to know that it doesn't have to be perfect your first time around, and God knows that.
Yeah.
I found the He Is Risen. I think they have a 40 or 50% off sale, but I got this for $150, and it's a 12-pack of a resurrection wheel. And so they can color the resurrection wheel, and then there's the cover, and then you just go through the story, and it's a little spinner story.
Cute.
So
Where'd you find that?
Hobby Lobby, and I want to find the link. Once our snowstorm is over, we have this snowstorm going on in upstate New York, so I'm not really going anywhere today. But so that's Hobby Lobby, and then Hobby Lobby also had little wooden characters for the resurrection story, and I think kids can either paint or color them, and then they're propped up with a little stand, so then they can stand up. So, Sarita's in the snow too. That's another way to do a first fruits activity with your kids. And yeah, would you like to say hello? All right.
Hi.
Camera in a minute, but you say hello. Are you excited? You say hi to the ladies.
Hi, cutie.
Yeah.
Being so good for mommy.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what we're doing. We're just trying to keep it as simple, keep it simple, but just giving yourself grace. Unleavened bread is a week long for a reason. There's a lot that you can do.
Yeah. And I think, you're the one that recommended this to me last year. We moved here, and Caitlin was like, oh, I have this church, this it was a whole list of things that I can get involved in here. And it was cool because it was at a regular church in the city of Baltimore. And I went, and they had a Messianic Passover. And it was so great because they flew in a messianic rabbi from, I forget where, him and his wife came, and he made it so fun. And it was so cool because you can look online and see, I think it was like $15, and they had the meal, the wine, they had everything in this church, and you sit, and this guy was the one explaining it to you. And so it was a fun date night for my husband and I, and we left the kids at home, and I was super pregnant, about to pop any minute with our fourth. And it was the coolest thing we ever did. So the cool part too is that I want to say is that his wife, I was like, wow, they must be doing this. They must have been doing this their whole life, because the passion in them, I saw his wife and how excited she was. And she was just like standing there helping him hand things out. And she didn't even say anything. But in my head, I was thinking that she was doing this her whole life. And then when I got to talk to her, she just started walking in Torah when she married her husband, and they were newlyweds. So this was like her second Passover. And in my head, I'm like, she must be doing this forever. But it was awesome because when I saw her, I just saw the love that she had, and her heart was in the right place. And to me, I was so in awe of that. Like, she literally was radiant, and she was giving off the fragrance of the Messiah. So like Caitlin said, I really encourage you guys, keep it simple and get excited about it. Because I think if we're encouraged and we're motivated, it'll make the difference for our children, regardless of how extreme it is, So I'm excited to hear what everyone's doing. I hope you guys got some good ideas from this. These books we'll put in the chat. And then also, if you're going to order them, I would wait, give it a day, because I want to try to get them in the resources page for the Rooted Cafe, so that they could, what are the words I'm looking for? They get like a portion of it, right? Gets given back to the Rooted Cafe.
All the links that I posted are all affiliate links. So if you go click any of those links, it'll give a portion back on Amazon.
You are amazing. Everyone, let's just tell Kimberly she's amazing. You're working so hard, and I'm so thankful for you.
But I can put all those links. I'll put all the links together of the books and whatever.
Okay.
I'll save the chat and then go through it and put all the links together
Awesome.
and post them in
Okay.
the chat later today.
Thank you so much.
You're the best, Kimberly.
Yeah,
Awesome.
you're so great. We love you.
Awesome.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah. Does anybody else want to say anything before we go off? Sarita, Alicia, I know you guys, Dawn, I know you've been writing in the chat, but if anybody wants to unmute so we can
I wanted to say, so some fun things you can do. I know some people have an issue with like the traditional Seder plate. So what you could do is just go to Walmart or Target or wherever, get like a white plate, and then get some ceramic markers and make your own Seder plate with just the bitter herbs and matzah and you can also have your kid get some puffy paints or fabric markers or whatever, and have your kids color them and then sew them together to make the matzah cover.
Fun.
Anyway, those are fun ideas that we've done.
I like that because you're keeping it simple, and they're the ones like helping you create it. And so, like you said, I think that's what we did for our first like 3 too. Was just like, I'm just like, what bitter herbs do I need? I need an egg. And then the second one, I think like my husband made this big thing of lamb, and I really don't like to eat lamb. The whole house smelled. I was like, what is this in the Bible? Like, what am I doing? And now many years later, I'm just like, okay, we're keeping it simple. But I think Whole Foods and Giant, they give out free like lamb shanks.
Oh, nice.
Go to the butcher like in the back where they have their meats, and you can you don't have to eat lamb, correct?
No, I don't think so.
No. I just have it on the plate.
I don't like lamb either. And so you know what I do? The way that I found I can tolerate it is ground lamb. And then I make ground lamb meatballs with lots of feta cheese and herbs. And those are really good. They don't taste lammy.
Yeah, I can't I don't know. I can't wrap my head around eating the lamb, but I'm like, okay, if I can go and get a free, and it's kind of cool to put on the, like on the plate, and like I said, you can get it free, and it's like this big, a little lamb shank that they give you, and they wrap it, and then you can just keep it and you can put it on your plate.
So what are the 2 stores again? You said Whole Foods, and what was the other one?
I'm pretty sure it was Giant. If you just call all your local stores,
Yeah,
your grocery stores and just say, are you giving out like free lamb shanks? Because they have all the lamb that they're cutting. So they have a bunch
right,
for,
right,
you know,
right.
for you, and they're usually good. But if you have a Whole Foods, I don't know, do you have a Whole Foods in upstate New York?
Yeah, we do have one locally to us, but
Oh,
we also, I mean, this is kind of nice, but we actually have a kosher grocery store that's also that same direction. So I would assume that for some of the Jewish families that they almost also might be requesting lamb shanks as well. So
yeah.
yeah.
Cool.
I don't think, do gyros have leaven? I don't think they do. Do they? I don't think so. I think they're the same like as like uh what do you, not pita bread, but like wraps. As long as it doesn't have like a leavening agent like what do you call it?
Yeast.
I can't think of it right now. Not yeast, and I guess like baking soda or baking powder.
I'm
could be
still
considered
learning
leavening
this.
agent.
Yeah, I remember like that day on past, like the morning that we were supposed to have it, like I didn't prepare. I was more concerned about getting the leaven out of my home, like not in my kitchen. And then that morning I'm like digging through my cabinets and my husband's like, Jen, calm down. We're doing the best that we can, you know? And I think in the Rooted Cafe, is there a whole thing on this? I feel like there's a whole feast thing, right? I'm gonna tag you in it, Dawn, where they talk, I think, because was it Valerie Moody that, because I know she has the book, but I think she also did a whole series on the feasts. And I think she has a whole section on Passover and how we can like bring it into our homes. And so Dawn, I'm gonna get that too. You're on bands, right? I'm guessing. So I will, okay, I will connect with you and I'm gonna I'll send you that. So. Okay. I'll have to look. I'll reach out. You know what? I'll actually just put a link and see if anybody can reach out or put a question. And I have some other good videos too, Dawn, that I can send you when I was like first learning. I don't know, you can test it for yourself, but I can recommend some stuff. So we'll connect after. Hi.
There is
Oh,
there is a feast and festivals link on Kajabi. Do you want me to just show her the thing on my screen?
yeah, that would
Just
be
real
wonderful.
fast.
Alicia
I'm just gonna
said,
share my
though, she didn't. Oh, I did some feast, but one I saw was overview. Oh, okay, okay.
here
Sarita,
it
you
is.
look beautiful. You're like glowing.
You know, it's funny. So
What?
as we're talking about all this leavening and all that, and we're working on getting the love, I was like, we need to start early this year because I've been going to the food pantry a lot, and so like sometimes they'll give you things, and I was
Yeah.
like, I didn't really check through them, so I'm like, I need to go and check through these things to make sure. And there wasn't a lot, and then there was like the yeast extract, and I'm like, what? What is?
No,
And
no.
but I heard that yeast extract was not considered because it's innate or inert, so it's like it's inactive basically. But in my firstborn mind, it says yeast. I'm like, it's yeast. It needs to get
Yeah.
out of here. So I have to be really careful with
Yeah.
but my husband and I both ended up getting sick. So was it 2 weeks ago now? So he came home on not last Friday, the Friday before, and he was like laid out Shabbat. And then I got sick like Sunday night, and then I was kind of laid out like halfway through Monday and all Tuesday last week. So, but it was interesting because it's like as we're starting to do the physical, getting the yeast out, it was almost like we both, and like we have not been sick like that. I mean, we just got married in November.
Yeah.
So but yeah, it was like, oh my gosh, when was the last time I had been sick like this? But it was really interesting because as we're in that process, um, we just, yeah, we're really looking at that, like our heart condition, and just really being surrendered to what the Father wants, because we're looking for a house and we want to buy land, but it's like, are we supposed to do that here, or is he going to move us somewhere else? And so we're really just trying to be quiet about that. So it's like we're trying to get all this yeast out, so we're eating all this stuff, and then we both got sick. And now we're on the mend, and So yeah, it's been really interesting in how even during these feast days, how certain things will happen in us physically and emotionally. And it's like, oh yeah, this is part of it. And okay, so like being more aware of that now, kind of like what Alicia was saying about being aware of the leaven in us spiritually, emotionally, and getting that out. And it's just like I have to rethink just, everything, because it's like, okay, I've kind of been on autopilot for a while and I've been doing things like in survival mode, and it's
Yeah, of
like
course.
you can't do that anymore. And then it's like, of course my children are 10 and 7, and so my 10-year-old's really like saying stuff and I'm like, okay. And so, but then sticking to certain things like, no, you can't do that. No, this is the consequence. And then when they come, please give me grace. Please let me. And I'm like, no. And it's like, how do I say no graciously and still love you at the same time through this and not be like, you're driving me crazy. Shut up. Because
Yeah.
that's my flesh. It wants to come out and say that. I'm like, no, this is why you're in the position you are, because you keep doing that. You can't keep doing it like that. And it's like the Holy Spirit is dealing with me on it. And it's like I'm still not fully recovered. And I know it's because he's like, no, I'm not giving you all your strength back until you get this. You got to get this, woman. So I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
okay. I'm like, we're too old for this.
But you're circumcised. Like this is what I was saying in the beginning. I feel like when we put that out, like the Musar, like when we put those things out there, then he works on us. And it's almost like, like for me, it was like natural childbirth. I have 4 kids. I cringe at the sight of even thinking about natural childbirth. I heard his voice so clear standing over there, natural childbirth. And I'm like, if you want me to do this, just like, I'm yours. And I did it. And I was like, whoa, it was the most painful thing, not the birth, but me dying to myself and saying that I'm going to do it was like, but he's able to circumcise our heart just like that, and it's like, this is the time, this is the leaven that we're trying to get out of our life, and for you, Dawn, too, with your children, I can't even imagine, because I grew up with my children, and this is the last thing I'll say because Kimberly, I know you have to go, I'm sorry. Growing up with my children, they grew up with magic, and Disney. And I'm not saying if you're not there, then so be it. But for now to take over the past 3 years or 4 years, now getting that stuff out of our home because I'm feeling convicted, and having my son realize, ooh, what we're watching or what we're doing is not honoring to the Lord. And now mommy didn't know, I'm sorry, and now we have to strip our home of it. And he's convicted too, of course, in his own way, but now I'm just overthinking everything, right? And so, there's grace. Of course, there's grace, and but at the same time, there's joy and obedience. So I encourage you guys to have both. And I hope you feel better, Sarita. I love you guys all. Thank you. Thanks, Kimberly.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you.